I think Jane is a manager, aren't you not? Jane Branham and Buddy, I mean, I forget the last name. Dale is here, and they are the Strawberry Jam, and I'm just so tickled that they've agreed to come and play for us. And I think Jane may have some stories for us, so let's make them welcome. Yeah. I got bad knees. I can see it. So howdy. Howdy. I'm Jane Branham. I was not born in town, but raised in town, born at North Community Hospital. So a lot of good stories from town, a lot of good memories. I don't live here now, but we got lots of relatives. And you know, I was talking to Dean about storytelling, because it's been probably 20 years ago. One day I invited a girlfriend to go over to Jonesboro with me. I was like, let's go over and listen to some stories, but I'm not paying $90. It's $90 a person to hear stories in the tent. I said, but there's people telling stories on the street, and we can go over and eat some food and listen to some stories. Well, we're sitting there on the sidewalk eating a hot dog, and some young man come up and said, ladies, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. I was like, it's a sidewalk. He said, yeah, but you're close enough to hear the stories. That made me mad. I went right down to the ticket office and I told him something that was born out of people's homes, especially poor people's houses, because that was a good source of entertainment, was stories. Could never be heard by anybody. We can't afford $90 a day. I don't know about y'all, but I can't. So I'm glad to see this happening, and I think we need to take storytelling. We need to own it. It was born here, and it's free. I love that.
What she said.
Well, I'm gonna do a lot of the talking because I'm a pounder. Anyways, yeah, I've got several relations in this whole story. For one, related to the Killing Rock, Bad Henry Adams, who's questionably at the site of the killing, he wasn't no nice dude, was my grandmother's grandfather.
I don't know if I'd have told that, Jane.
Yeah, well, that's what she said. And she'd only met him once when she was a little girl, and he was very old then. She just said he was grouchy. So, but then I'm also kin to the Kentucky Giant. He was my great uncle, Martin Van Buren Bates, and I've got an uncle that lives here in Pound that's named after him, Van Buren Boggs. And then I also had my great grandfather was Doc Lawrence Haddon, who settled over here on the other side of the road up south of the mountain at a place. Yeah, Becky, yeah, cousin. There you go. Who was, it was a place called Haddonfield. It was named after him. Lawrence Haddon came over on a boat back in the 1800s from Leeds, England. Came over, joined the Confederates. I believe it was the Confederates that he joined in the Civil Army. Was captured by the Union, switched sides, and went back to war. But anyway, this place over here, right past Elmira, when you turn down that road, south of the mountain road, just a couple miles out through there is a place called Haddonfield, and there's a Haddon Cemetery still there, where he is buried. And my grandmother, my Mamaw, Yuri, was his granddaughter, and she gave me his desk that he used. He was a herb doctor, and he was a postmaster, and that was the desk he used. And my dad used to talk about, he always carried a worry stone in his pocket, and he'd pull that thing out, you know, and just rub on it. One day I was
going to pull it out.
Well, I meant to bring it today, and for show and tell, and I told Buddy I forgot the worry stone.
I said, just pick up a rock.
Yeah, it ain't the
Be all right.
same, but I pulled out that drawer in that desk one day and I found that worry stone at the back of that drawer. So I've got his worry stone. It's a really precious thing. His daughter, Lydia, we called Ma, raised my daddy out in south of the mountain. And lots of good stories coming from my dad, who's named after him, Lawrence. And he talked about raising fields of tomatoes, never heard of bugs, no pests, no weeds. They just grew. And it's just some of the stories he tells are wonderful. But I remember Ma when I was a little girl because my great Aunt Maisie Branham took care of her until the day she died out on Mill Creek where they lived outside of Pound. And Ma was she was bedbound at that time, but a lot of good stories. So anyway, since we're not capoed up, maybe we can do a little bit of Carter Fold song, and then I'll tell you a story about somebody else.
You want to do Wildwood Flower?
Yeah, y'all like Wildwood
Anybody
Flower?
ever heard of Wildwood Flower?
Are you tuned? Because I didn't tune. I tuned.
Yeah, I tuned. Maybe this is my time to tell a story.
You got one?
I could make one up, but you're going to tune.
You grew up in Exeter. You ain't got no Pound stories.
Oh, you gonna tune, or you just gonna?
I
play
don't
the
know if I
video?
need to or if we have time. It's good enough.
I like that. Close enough's good
Close
enough.
enough. Twine with my ringlets and waving black hair, with the roses so red and the lilies so fair, and the myrtle so bright with the emerald blue. Pale ghostly rider and eyes look like blue. I will dance, I will sing, and my life shall be dead. I will charm every heart in his presence I'll swing. When I woke from my dream in my idols was played, all portions of love had all flown away. Oh, he taught me to love him and promised to love and to cherish me over all others above. How my heart is now wondering, no misery can tell. He's one telling no words of farewell. Oh, he taught me to love him and promised to love, to cherish me him and the deadly dark hour.
kind of repeated one verse twice, but that's all
Well, we won't repeat half of it.
right. So, let's see, what are we gonna do next?
Well, we got those were the good old days. We're going home. I can capo.
Let's
we
do
can
we're going home, and then I'll tell another story.
Okay.
Okay. Here's another little original tune.
If you don't mind, I'm gonna stand up. I'm not.
Well, that makes me feel short.
It hurts her legs to stand. It hurts my back to sit. So,
Between the two, it's like kind of like Jack Sprat.
yeah. Well, we'll sit half the time, stand half the time.
Jack Sprat could eat no fat. His wife could eat no lean.
Okay, so this is an original song for us, Strawberry Jam. We hope to be on our next CD coming out here, hopefully first part of this next year.
Early in the morning, just before the dawn, the mist slowly rises and the darkness is gone. It's a magical moment when there is no wrong. I can hear the angels sing their song. Let's all come together when the evening is done. Let's all come together at the set of the sun. Let's all come together, united as one. Lay your troubles by, we're going home. The morning sun rises in the eastern sky. The flower garden glistens and the birds begin to fly. Much must be done as I wonder why. The answer's in the sweet by and by. Let's all come together when the evening is done. Let's all come together at the set of the sun. Let's all come together, united as one. Lay your troubles by, we're going home. The sun is so hot and the sweat is on my brow. The wind is gently blowing, makes it right somehow. Now a light rain is falling as I put away the cloud. All is done that this day will allow. Let's all come together when the evening is done. Let's all come together at the set of the sun. Let's all come together, united as one. Lay your troubles by, we're going home. Lay your troubles by, we're going home. Thank y'all. Oops, I'm not remembering. Thank you. So, I guess I better get another instrument.
What are you gonna do so I can get ready?
Riverboat.
Okay.
So I was going.
You want me to tell a story?
You don't know the story. How would you tell a story?
Okay. Well, that makes sense then. I guess I have to let her tell the story.
No,
I wrote this song because I got inspired by several different things, and one of them, my Mama Yuri, she was Lydia Soward's, Lawrence Haddon's granddaughter. Gosh, how's this thing work, buddy? How's it
Oh,
come
well, you
up?
have to remember the words and, oh, you're
No.
talking, oh, I thought you were talking about telling the story. Oh. Sorry,
Thank you. I got it. So,
yeah, you have to remember the story first, that's how it works.
here, I
Get
got
this
it.
for you. You just go ahead and tell your story, I'm working on this for you. Somebody's gotta do it.
So anyway, I went to my
I'm gonna
mama.
let you tell the
Was
story.
my mama was in a nursing home, and I used to go see her about every day. And I walked in one day, and she was singing "Going Up the River Road," and I thought, well, that's an interesting concept, and never heard that before. She hadn't either. She just made it up. But you know, she grew up south of the mountain and along the Pound River up there. If y'all have been to the end of the south of the mountain, it ends at the Austin settlement. I'm kin to the Austin family too. So anyway, the name of the song is River Road, and because of that memory of her. And then the rest of it's about Clint Branham. Becky knows, this is her relative too. So Clint was my granddad's, let's see, my granddad's brother. Granddad was Cooge Branham.
They're
And
all up at my place now.
yeah, they're all buried up there at Garfield's house up there in south of the mountain. So anyway, Clint was a known drunk, and let me tell you, there was lots of moonshine going on up there on that other side. Because my daddy talks about a place called Kansas City and another one called Salt Lake City, and they were like cities in the middle of nowhere where they were busy making some good moonshine. But so Clint was a known moonshine drunk. He was actually killed by a car while he was walking on the side of the road. But from all accounts, from everybody in my family, Clint was one of the sweetest, kindest human beings that ever lived. And I know my Aunt Jean lives in Boise, Idaho, and she still talks about how sweet he was. So that this is about him. My dad said that even though he was drunk, he'd go up the road all the time, walking up the road saying, I pray, I pray, I pray. So all those concepts are in this song, and I hope you enjoyed it. It's called River Road. This ain't in tune, but I don't care. Thinking about the stories my pap told me about the river road. Barefoot boys with fishing poles and folks just getting where they need to go. One day he overheard Uncle Clint as he staggered on the way. People said he's just a drunk, don't pay no mind to anything he says. But tears were flowing down his face as he wrung his hands and bowed his head in pain. He sobbed and fell down to his knees. He said, Dear God, I need you, please. And then he said, I pray, I pray, I pray. Oh Lord, let me fly away on the wings of your love that I'm not worthy of. I pray, I pray, I pray. Then he went up the river road, this kind and gentle soul. I wonder how the world could be so blind and be so cold.
Day came when they found Uncle Clint by the side of the road. His lifeless body in a ditch, a car had put him down where wildflowers grow. I'm going up the river road, voices seem to echo down the hollow. A man got up and walked away, and who among you cannot say he flies? He said, I pray, I pray, I pray. Oh Lord, let me fly away on the wings of your love that I'm not worthy of. I pray, I pray, I pray. I pray, I pray, I pray.
Thank you all. Is that about it?
You know Birdie Brown?
Who?
Birdie Brown?
Murray?
Yes.
You got about 5 minutes because
No, but there's a bunch of Browns over that way, but no, now my dad was the only child of my grandfather's first marriage. They divorced early and he remarried Coogee Branham. I don't know if you remember Cooge or not. Remember Cooge?
Susie?
Cooge.
if you could do us one more, because you're gonna do another set after James. Pearson's got to go, but he wants to play a couple. We want him to play a couple before he goes.
Okay.
We
Go
wouldn't
ahead and do
miss it.
one more for us.
All right, I'm gonna have to tune because this is way
What
out.
do you want to play?
Could you?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes me feel better.
Listening to your beautiful
I think
voice.
we're our own worst critics, ain't we?
What do you want to play?
I guess so. Those were the good old days. It's the only other guitar song we got. So, yeah, Buddy grew up in Exeter, or Exeter, for those who don't know how to talk. It's Exeter.
Proper people, it's Exeter.
He's one of those kids that, man, grew up without a toilet in the house. Now, I can't say that. We did have an indoor toilet. But times was hard for a lot of folks, and everybody was poor.
Well, it was
So-
kind of, you mentioned a toy. Actually, when I
Well,
lived
you
in-
tell it then. You ain't told a
Well,
story
I'm
yet.
just gonna tell, no, I'm gonna tell the truth.
Hey,
No, actually, when I lived in Exeter, times were pretty hard. I grew up in the 50s. But at any rate, yeah, we lived in, a lot of the houses in the coal camps back then were really pretty decent. They were all basically the same, but the house that we lived in had a complete bathroom and all that. We burned
oh,
wood
you
and
lied
coal.
to me then.
I never lied. But oddly enough, I lived in Exeter for 12 years, and when we moved from Exeter to Big Stone Gap, we moved to a house that didn't have indoor toilet. Had an outside toilet, but it had a big garden.
There you go.
And back then, when you were looking for a house to rent, you come up to the house and you go, well, that looks okay. And you're looking around, where's the garden spot?
Hey, not only that, but Ben
Hey, it's
Hooper.
my story.
Well, Ben Hooper grew up up there in Inman. He said that when somebody's house burned down, people was down there hoeing, getting ready to garden. Yeah, there was.
It's good ground.
Yeah, it's good ground.
But anyway, yeah, that was true. We moved from Exeter to Big Stone Gap, and this would have been in the early 60s. And the house we moved to did not have an indoor toilet. It had an outside toilet. It had water, but it didn't have a toilet. And but anyway, this song here is written based largely upon my experiences growing up in the little coal camp of Exeter. And it's about, back then, we didn't have very much electricity, had no electronics. We actually had to go out and play. And this
What?
is most of our worst nightmare is the idea of sitting down and you have to have conversation. Because there was nothing much to do, you know, there was not a lot of electronics. Nowadays, everybody's like this. You have to interrupt them.
And we're all tender-footed because we wear shoes now.
Anyway, this is called Those Were the Good Old Days, and they're good old days now. They weren't necessarily such good old days back when you were going through them. Am I right?
I don't know, that's pretty good. I like that simple
Yeah,
life.
it gets a lot better when you get older and you tell them.
That's right.
Walked uphill to school both ways, you know, walked uphill to school, and on the way back it was uphill too.
And stand there and wait for a school bus and snow up to here.
Up to here,
No, yeah, up to
as
here.
long as we're going to
I meant
tell
to
it.
say. Now, there's stories and then there's lies.
Oh, that's tall stories. We don't call them lies. Those were the good old days. One, two.
Times were hard, not much to eat. Carried wood and coal for the heat. Thank God for what we had. Looking back, it wasn't so bad. Mama said, where there is a will, there's a way. Never knew that one day we'd say, those were the good old days. Those were the good old days. They had no shoes on their feet. Our pants had holes in the seat. The knees had stitches, patches and stains. Now they call them designer jeans. No ball games, no music, no DVDs. Just wait in the creek and climb in the trees. Those were the good old days. Those were the good old days. Those were the good old days. If we got it cold on a Saturday night, well, we thought everything was alright. That was always a special treat, a soft drink and something to eat. We played hard, we'd fight and scratch, get a ball and go play catch. Those were the good old days. Those were the good old days. Powdered milk, powdered eggs, government cheese. Thank you, Lord, I'll have some more, please. Don't know what you ain't got. Got a loving family, you got a lot. Those were the good old days. Those were the good old days. Those
Were they?
Were they?
They
I
were.
think they were.
Were the good old
days.
days.
y'all so very much. We appreciate you.